Hi, everyone. My name is Andrea Patton. I am the Chief of Staff for the City of Boston's Disabilities Commission, and I want to welcome you to our third annual Family Night as part of the Financial Empowerment Program and partnership that we help run here from the City of Boston's Disabilities Commission with some fantastic partners that you'll hear from tonight. I'm going to dive on in and start sharing my screen and lean into telling you what this is. So we have a financial empowerment program for BPS youth with disabilities that I will tell you all about. But first, I want to tell you what we're going to do tonight. We're going to introduce ourselves. I'll stop sharing screen for that. I'll give you a little background and context as to what this is and why we're having this event tonight. You'll hear from Marcia about the student learning going on over at BPS, what your young folks are doing. You'll hear about some of the city resources that we have here in the city of Boston for you, for your child, for your families, for your whole life, to help make sure that you, have the resources you need to manage your money. And then finally, we will hear from the Massachusetts Educational Financing Authority about a really special program called ABLE accounts. So I'm going to stop sharing. I've already introduced myself as working for the City of Boston. But again, I'm Andrea. I'm a white woman wearing a headset with a microphone and glasses, and I'm really excited to be here. I will kick it now to Marcia to introduce herself.
Thank you, Andrea. Hi, everybody. I'm Marcia Fitzpatrick. I'm the Assistant Director of Transition for the Boston Public Schools, and I am pleased to be here tonight to celebrate our third year of this amazing partnership with the Disability Commission. We are very fortunate that Commissioner McCosh shared this grant with our students. And as we continue to train teachers in this curriculum, we are enabling some of the most marginalized youth in the district to have financial empowerment. They're learning about key concepts that will help them to improve their own lives as well as the lives of their families. From simple to compound interest and starting their own bank accounts. This program has been highly successful. We've reached almost 200 students. And what's even better is as Boston Public Schools begins to implement financial literacy in other areas, our students are ahead of the game because they've been receiving this curriculum for over 3 years now. Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you, Marcia. Going in our later speaking order, I'll kick it now to Michael.
Good evening. My name is Michael DeAndelman. I am the Bank on Boston Senior Program Manager in the Center for Working Families, which used to be called the Mayor's Office of Financial Empowerment. I'm going to be doing a little bit of a presentation, but this is my third time at a City Hall Day partnership with the Commission for Persons with Disabilities and Boston Public Schools. I believe that everybody is a student, and as such, if you have any questions, whether it's during my presentation or in the future after my presentation, I'd be happy to assist you with any and all questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. We're really happy that you're here for the third time as well. Lynn, would you like to introduce yourself? Lynn, I believe you're muted. Sorry.
Of course, that's me. I'm Lynn Dan. I'm a she, her. White and black hair and glasses. I work with Michael at the Center for Working Families. My title is Disability Ambassador. My role is working with the Boston Tax Help Coalition, and the whole focus outreach is with the community, the disability community within the city of Boston. A variety of different things, and I'll talk about a couple of it as we go.
Thank you, Lynn. So glad that you could join us tonight. And last but far from least, Stephanie, please introduce yourself.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Stephanie Wells, and I have been at MIFA, which stands for the Massachusetts Educational Financing Authority, for about 23 years now. Primarily what I've done at MIFA over the years is work with families and students to help them throughout the college enrollment process, planning, saving, paying for college. And I'm here tonight to talk about a fairly new program that's come up in the last 5 years or so to help folks with disabilities save in a tax beneficial way. And I'm going to tell you a lot more about the ABLE program in a few minutes. And I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Stephanie. All right. Diving back into my slides, I want to tell you a little bit about who we are, the Boston Disabilities Commission. So the screen here reads, our mission is to increase opportunities for people with disabilities by facilitating full and equal participation in all aspects of life within the city of Boston. This includes reducing architectural, procedural, attitudinal, and communication barriers, as well as promoting equity in housing, education, employment, transportation, and civic activities. That's a lot. We're a small group housed in City Hall that are really here to make sure that every other department of the city knows how to interact with and how to fully support people with disabilities. And so the second part of our mission is to work toward compliance with Title II of the Americans with Disabilities Act by ensuring that all work being done by every city department is accessible. We also provide information and referral, architectural access review, and advocacy on disability issues. And so this program is really part of that last piece, because we at the commission received a grant from a city bank, city with an I, through a program called Empowered Cities. And that money allowed us to work with all of the partners named here, many of whom are on the call, including the National Disability Institute, Boston Public Schools Strive program, the Center for Working Families, MIFA, and actually banks and credit unions, who you'll hear a little bit more about. And so we are advocating and working with those partners to deliver a financial empowerment curriculum. Well, what does that mean? Well, in summer of 2021, we did our first pilot. 36 students who were in the extended school year program received 10 hours of instruction about financial wellness. Their instruction was based on a curriculum developed by the National Disability Institute, specifically for folks with disabilities, with training and modules specifically designed for them. Those students received $100 in seed money to open a bank account. They got to come to City Hall to meet Commissioner McCosh, our disability commissioner, what was the Office of Financial Empowerment at the time, as well as representatives from banks and credit unions. And they got to go do site visits to see a credit union and talk to staff in there. We also piloted our first what we called Parents Night, which in later we have opened up to not just parents, but all family members who might care about and support students. And so on this slide, our 2021 to 2022 school year, I can tell you about the 9 teachers who got trained on that National Disability Institute. Some of them offered the training as a standalone unit to your students, while others delivered it kind of throughout the year in classes to your students. Both degree-bound and transition students got to learn from these teachers who'd received the training. And again, seed money, a family night, and a City Hall day event for the students. So this year, third year, we're keeping going. We trained 8 new teachers. So we now have nearly 20 teachers in the Boston Public Schools, Strive teachers, SPED teachers, delivering financial empowerment lessons to students that are involved in the Strive program. Again, there's $100 in seed money available to these students. Tonight is our family night webinar, and we are having our City Hall Day event tomorrow. So that's the end of me. That's the overview of what this program is and why we're here tonight. I hope that you will learn a lot from these great resources who are here to support you, your child, your family, in managing your money and managing your finances. But if you need us at the Disability Commission for any other city service, our contact information is on the screen. disability@boston.gov is our email. You can reach us at 617-635-3682 if you want to call. We also have a text number, which I'm realizing I did not put on the slide, but is on our website, which is boston.gov/disability. Thank you so much. And I am going to hand it now over to Marcia at BPS.
So, as Andrea said, in the summer of 21, we had a very exciting summer during our vocational training program for 36 of our students, and they did this full time. We had one group of students who did this full time. So our students were able to be paid through the city, through the Department of Youth Engagement. And it was really successful, not only because they were going to get the seed money at the end of the summer, but also because they were able to learn how to budget that summer. So they went on field trips and they participated in shopping. They were giving spending limits. They had to learn how to make sure that they budgeted for their lunch, and they learned to travel train at the same time. So during the school year, that's a little bit more challenging for some of our teachers. So what some teachers do is they weave it through the math curriculum, and other teachers continue to bring students out into the community to teach budgeting and real life applications of what they're doing for applying the financial empowerment. So when we continue this summer, once again, we'll have a group of students who will be applying this in the summer. And I feel like the summer's a little more flexible because students get out of the community a little bit more. So again, we're really excited about tomorrow for the Financial Empowerment Day down at City Hall. Meeting the commissioners exciting. We got to go to the City Hall, the City Council chambers one year. And it's just a great day for the students to realize that they are actually part of this city and that the city has these resources and that they can access them. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcia. Yeah, we love having the students at City Hall, trying to bring them back as often as we can, whether it's financial empowerment or civic engagement. It's always a good day when I get to either go to a playground when I'm working with parks or hang out with the students when I'm doing something with BPS. That's why I love my job. So thank you. Thank you for partnering with us on your students, with your students. Now I want to hand it over to Michael Andelman to talk a little bit about the resources that we have here in City Hall, free resources for Boston residents. Yeah, take it away, Michael.
Thank you, Andrea. I should also say, hi, I'm Michael D. Andelman. He, him, yours. I consider myself olive and I'm tan, and I've got a gray beard and stylish glasses. I'm going to share my screen now, which I also hope is going to, maybe I'm going to share my screen, trying to. And is it sharing?
Yes, it's sharing. It's not in slideshow mode if that's what you're going for, but it is sharing.
Okay, great. All right. I am going to go to slideshow mode. Perfect. And is it, I have two screens. Is it splitting the screen or it's just?
Nope, we just see the slideshow.
Wonderful. All right. So this is going to be handed out as a slideshow too. And that's were we meeting in real life, I would be talking a little bit less formulaically than going through the slideshow. And yet the Boston Center for Working Families is formerly the Mayor's Office of Financial Empowerment. We have several programs within the Center for Working Families. Little bit of a history is that the Center of Working Families has been around since 2014. Last year, we had Mimi Turchinets, who is the Assistant Deputy Director, assisting with this presentation and much of our efforts. She will be at City Hall Day tomorrow, and yet she has moved on to another cabinet, working in the labor division of the mayor's office. I'm actually going to slide through this. We have many different departments, many different services that are free to all Boston residents. You know, if you're outside of Boston, we can also help you. I am kind of whispering that. Our main service is called the Boston Tax Help Coalition, where over 13,000 people come into a variety of locations. Our location is in Roxbury's Nubian Square at 7 Palmer Street. The addresses will be at the end of the slide presentation. We have other offices. We work in conjunction with Jewish Vocational Services, Urban Edge, just to name a couple, where people can come in and have their taxes prepared for free. It's also a little bit of a learning experience. If you would like to learn about what is going on with your taxes, as I was saying, everybody is a student. We can also help with the learning process. Sometimes we even teach people how to do their own taxes. If the offices are busy and you need to wait to have your taxes done, what is often done is what's called a financial checkup. And a financial checkup, just like a physical checkup when you go into a doctor's office, we find out for you for free. Everything that we do is free. For free, we will pull your credit report and find out what your score is. We'll also be able to see with your assistance if there were derogatory reports on your credit report. And you're also given an opportunity to make an appointment with a financial coach, which moves on to our full center, the Center for Working Families, which used to be called the Roxbury Center for Financial Empowerment. We have financial coaches. Some of those financial coaches specialize in workforce development, resume support. We also have programs that do run in conjunction with our coaches, whether it's learning how to be a professional driver, working in the culinary or hospitality fields, working in insulation and light construction, and even some computer programming classes. Another program that we have is Boston Saves. Boston Saves has been around now for 6 years, and it makes sure that every student that is coming through the Boston public school system gets $50 put into a fund towards college. Now, if somebody doesn't choose to go to college and they want to go to technical vocational studies, or if they want to be opening up their own business, that money can also be rolled in. I say that 6 years in, we have only been working with kindergarten kids, and now our oldest kids are in 6th grade. So if any of you have children that are in the kindergarten or K2 students, which is just before kindergarten, talk with us and we can get you started in savings. There are all sorts of incentives too with the savings, like if you read to your child, you can get an extra $25, many other kinds of incentives. One of my main focuses in the Center for Working Families is Bank on Boston. Basically, Bank on Boston makes sure that you are not paying any fees for your checking, savings, credit union, or bank account. It's my job to make sure that you are not going to a check cashing facility and spending money to get your money. Not only free, but we want to eliminate some of the fees that you may be paying. We have relationships with many financial institutions, some of which will be at City Hall Day tomorrow. The other project is Boston Builds Credit. Boston Builds Credit, just like the Boston Red Sox, has a little bit of like Red Sox Nation going on, because Boston Builds Credit is becoming popular in other parts of the country, where with our financial checkup and some of the other partnering with our other services, making sure that Bostonians have a credit score above 660. You know, some people say that prime is 660, some people say 700. The main thing is that we work with you to make sure that you can get a credit product so that you can lower your interest payments and increase wealth. This slide is a deeper dive into the Boston Tax Help Coalition. And there are also a few asks. For example, we're always seeking volunteers to be working for us because it is the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program. Volunteers can be people who are ambassadors. That means that you might be just telling friends, relatives, people in your community to get their taxes done for free, and you can get paid to be doing this. There will be all sorts of contact information in this presentation, and you're welcome to either write myself or to Andrea too, to get this kind of information. Over 400 volunteers are doing tax preparation, and there are other organizations that are doing the tax returns for free. Financial checkup is the next slide, but I pretty much already talked all about the financial checkup, so I'm going to breeze through it. I talked about volunteer opportunities, and there are some. There are email addresses that are listed in the presentation. And if you have any questions because you have challenges with any of the readings, we would also be happy to help with vocal and or in-person visits. The next slide is about volunteer opportunities. Boston Saves. Each individual I asked to prepare a slide for what they focus on, and yet I kind of already talked about Boston Saves. Read Boston is one of the things that I did not talk about. Read Boston makes sure that kids have books, all different kinds of books. We do story mobiles, we do story time. We have different people, sometimes famous, like sports figures, whether it's a Bruins or sometimes a Red Sox, and others are reading to kids. So that means that you can do it in the form of YouTube, a podcast, or get other kinds of readings. We also give out plenty of books. And to the best of my knowledge, some of the books actually are for visually impaired. And I don't know if we have audio books. I'm only thinking about that as I'm giving this presentation. So next time, I will know a little bit more about Read Boston to be able to say how accessible all of their materials are. Then we have a couple of flyers. Flyers have to do with some of the upcoming events. Some of our flyer have QR codes where you can use your phone and then see all the different accounts that are offered in the city of Boston. You can kind of like if you're buying something on Amazon or looking in Consumer Reports, you can see, oh, what's the least amount of money that I need to have in order to open an account? And you might say, oh, I don't have enough money to open an account. But wait, some of these accounts don't require you to have any money, and they have no fees. So you can open an account with no money. So imagine that you're going in, you're getting your taxes prepared. You don't have any money yet, but you're going to be receiving money and you want to get it quickly and safely, not get a check, but have it directly deposited, which is faster than receiving a check and safer, just in case your mail might get stolen by a neighbor, not saying. This would be able to get your money quickly without having any money down. No fees, totally free. These are things that we have been working on at the Center for Working Families, and especially with Bank on Boston, so that you can have these products and not go to check cashing facilities. I already kind of talked about Bank on Boston, so if you're not able to actually watch this slide presentation, I'm kind of flying through. And some of the data that talks about why there are more financial institutions in some areas and not some in others. Part of my job is also talking to financial institutions and saying, hey, there's a need in a neighborhood for a financial institution to have a location, a branch location. I'm not necessarily doing an advertisement for JP Morgan Chase, but they listened and now they have a community center in Mattapan, for example. Berkshire Bank has a free small business development office in Nubian Square. And there are others too. Oh my gosh, I flew through my slide presentation and yet I had one where I wanted to be able to introduce Lynn Dan, who is on the call right now. And I'm going to have Lynn Dan talk about the volunteer opportunity with the Disability Working Group. Lynn?
Hi, I am officially the Disability Ambassador for the Tax Help Coalition for the division of this office that Michael just gave a very good description about. And the Disability Working Group seeks people with disabilities to join, have a voice, and distribute materials to their community. Right now, our current group that we've had last year were leaders from the Boston Center for Independent Living, for the organization that you're in the midst of right now, the City of Boston's Commission for People with Disabilities, the City of Boston Age Strong, Families Creating Together, Community Working Services, the Epilepsy Foundation New England, Our Space, Our Place, which is an organization for families and the deaf, hard of hearing, Mass Adapt, and other advocates. At this time, we're always looking to seek Boston area leaders, disability leaders, family leaders, individuals who have something that they want to provide, experience that we can then take on a role to improve the community. We have the two really primary focuses have been with the ASL, then the Deaf Inc. That's been happening since 2005. And just last year, we started with the VIP outreach. That's the outreach to the visually impaired, those who are visually blind, lack vision. And we've worked with the Mass Commission for the Blind for that, with that. And right now, so as I've said, the key that I have in this role are seeking folks, but also because this is an outreach to you as families, is to let you know that this is what we do. We've got this as a division within the whole office, is specifically working with the disability world in the city of Boston. And as you can see, or as listed on this page, any questions is lynn.dan@boston.gov. You're welcome to connect with me.
Thank you, Lynn. I also really want to say that it is very great to have you in our offices now. It's wonderful to see that Center for Working Families really is investing in people to bridge the gap between persons with disabilities. That is it from us. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Lynn. That was so great. It's always good to be reminded about the number of things that you, your office, your center, your division do. And as we always try to do from the commission, the Disabilities Commission perspective, is make sure that every office is not only doing great work, but they're doing it with a disability lens and informed by the disability community to do it right and inclusively and equitably in the way that people with disabilities deserve. And so it's always a joy to hear from the two of you, because money is scary. Money is scary for all kinds of people. And I can only imagine when you add in other complicated things like savings limits that people might hear about when it comes to something like Social Security and disability income. So it's so great that you all have that disability lens. And there's one other really great product out there for people who might be thinking about those scary things. Stephanie, take it away. Tell us about ABLE.
Okay, great. Thank you, everybody. And it was great to get some basic information about what else is going on in the community. So I live in Dorchester, and I'm a white woman with fancy, nice glasses like Michael, blonde hair. And hopefully my dog doesn't bark in the background while I'm doing my little presentation here. But I'm here to talk about a resource of the state of Massachusetts called Attainable. And Attainable is a program for folks with disabilities to save in a tax advantage way. So let me tell you a little bit about MIFA first and who we are, and then I'll talk to you about details about the program. So MIFA stands for the Massachusetts Educational Financing Authority. We have been around 40 years, helping families plan, save, and pay for college through guidance and community outreach and all kinds of educational initiatives, as well as savings programs and loan programs. So we have a lot of resources. Over the years, we have been primarily focused on college attainment and things of that nature. But in 2014, an act was passed by Congress called the Stephen Beck Jr. Achieving a Better Life Experience Act. The short name is ABLE, ABLE. And that came about in 2014, where the tax code was amended to add section 529A. So these ABLE accounts allow persons with disabilities, tax exempt accounts, to save for lots of qualified disability expenses. And I'm going to go through those while still being able to keep their eligibility for federal benefits, particularly SSI, for example. So we'll go into details about that, but this was a really incredible offering. And in 2017, the Massachusetts ABLE program called Attainable went live. So let me tell you a little bit about that. These are great programs. So this is a program that you can use it for college, but there's so many resources and programs you can use it beyond. It's really not a college savings account. Many people may think of 529 accounts being college savings account, but this is a 529A. So this is a little bit different. Some things are similar to 529 accounts, but a little bit different. So in 2017, as I mentioned, only 5 years ago, so it's a fairly new program for the country and for the state. Attainable Savings Plan was launched in 2017. So every state has a 529A account. And in Massachusetts, ours is called the Attainable Savings Program. And MIFA is the sponsor of the account, just like we're the sponsor of the state savings plans for college, U-Plan and U-Fund. And Fidelity Investments is the program manager of the Attainable Savings Account. So Fidelity has trained folks that are specialized to assist with individuals who are setting up these accounts, answering questions about their current attainable accounts, helping them get set up, and giving them certified financial advice on different risk options and things like that I'll get into. So what can you use an ABLE account for? Let's talk about that first, and then we'll talk about some of the other tax benefits and how to open up the account. So ABLE accounts, attainable, particularly here in Massachusetts, allow folks to save for qualified disability expenses. Now, these qualified disability expenses should be broadly understood. There's a few categories that I'll read for you. So they're not limited to just medical expenses. And, they're available for all kinds of expenses. So of course, medical expenses, anything related to health, housing, rent, utilities, anything like that. Education, of course, training programs, doesn't have to be for college. Transportation, bus fare, T-Pass, car payments, whatever it might be. Assistive technology support, of course, employment training and support, personal support services, maybe financial services, if you are hiring a financial planner to help with, getting things up and running, things like that, in basic living needs. So the areas that you can use the account for are very broad, purposefully so. And support services, for example, can include financial management, administrative services, could be legal fees to create, trust funds and things like that. So we want you to think of these programs as very, broad. The things that ABLE account or an attainable account wouldn't cover are things for maybe entertainment, so a vacation, things like that. But there is pretty broad uses for these accounts. So who's eligible to use these ABLE accounts, and particularly the attainable account? So anyone who had their onset of their disability occurred before the age of 26, regardless of how old they are now, can open up one of these attainable accounts. Now, 26 is a pretty young age. Somebody, could become disabled after 26. I often think of, maybe folks in the military who are 28 years old and might come home with a disability. So the good news is that there was an act passed to increase this age to 46 in the year of 2026. So a few years away from that, but that is good news that more folks will be able to use these accounts. And folks that are eligible to receive SSI or SSDI due to their disability are definitely, able to take advantage of these accounts. If somebody self-certifies as meeting these requirements, with a diagnosis of a functional limitation through the Social Security Administration's Blue Book, they can also take out these ABLE accounts. So we have a number of these SSA Blue Book programs listed here. I'll read a few for those who might not be able to see, who might not be able to read the screen here. I'll read them for you, a few of them, just to give you an idea that it might not be your typical, what you consider disability. It could be cardiovascular disabilities, digestive system disabilities, skin disorders, things like that. So as long as it's an actual diagnosis, then the person can use this ABLE account. Okay, so let me talk a little bit more about some of the specifics. And these numbers are very important because it's the whole point of the plan. So the attainable account allows the account owner, who is also the beneficiary, to save over $2,000 without it affecting their federal benefits. So that is that is the reason why these accounts were created. And, I have a friend who's on SSI, and, she is always worried, well, I can't have more than $2,000 in my savings account. So now folks can help themselves, earn a little bit of money, put some money away for whatever they might need, or use the money monthly to pay for all those many expenses I was just telling you about, without it impacting their SSI. And anyone can contribute to these accounts as well. So as long as your attainable account balance does not exceed $100,000, then it will not impact your SSI benefits. So that is huge. It allows folks to save a little bit more, maybe a lot more than $2,000 without it impacting their benefits. Okay, so beneficiaries, the account owners, they have immediate access to the funds. So you can use this. You can even get, a cash management account through Fidelity, which is a bank account in a sense, and be able to use it automatically. So you can use that to pay for, rent, utilities, healthcare, whatever expenses might come up. There's lots of tax benefits, which I'll talk about, and the contributions that you can contribute to the plan. There are caps per year, so up to $17,000 per year. And if you are employed, then you may contribute an additional $13,590 each year from your earnings. So it allows you to put in, well over, 30 and 20 something $1,000 to put away and to use on a monthly basis, or save up for something that you might be needing. So the maximum account balance can't exceed $500,000. There's no account maintenance fees. And these attainable accounts are investment accounts. So that's why we are partnering with Fidelity Investments to help run the program. So the nice thing about these savings accounts, there's no taxes incurred on these accounts. And then there's additional tax benefits. So the ABLE Financial Planning Act allows beneficiaries who are the same individual on both accounts to transfer funds from a 529 college savings plan into an ABLE account without incurring any taxes or penalties. So an example could be, maybe parents were saving for college for their child in a 529 account, and, something happened and the student, has a disability and might not be going to college, might need those funds for some other types of care. So they can transfer that money from the college savings account into the attainable account, which is great. There's also a savers credit. So able account owners who meet certain criteria can receive a savers credit on their federal taxes for contributions into the able account. They do have to be 18 and not a full-time student and not claimed as a dependent on someone else's tax return. So as long as the withdrawals are spent on qualified disability expenses, the attainable account is going to grow federal income tax free, which is great. So big benefits on the tax side. Now, if you're putting money into the account, I'm not going to get too much into the investments. I'll let folks call Fidelity talk to certified financial planners about the different investments. But it does work as an investment. So when you're putting money into this account, it can grow over time, and it can potentially exceed growth than putting it in just a regular savings account. So, and it also allows you the tax benefits, but also the investments that Fidelity is handling can help increase that growth as well. Oops, don't know what I just did there. Okay, here we go. So I will provide these slides to Andrea, and this information is also available on Fidelity's website, so the attainable section of Fidelity's website, but there are 8 portfolios that folks can choose from setting up these able accounts. So you can, if you're very conservative, you don't want share a lot of risk, there's a money market portfolio, and it goes all the way up to a much more aggressive portfolio that's heavily invested in stocks. But I do encourage folks to talk to our partners at Fidelity to get certified advice on this and based on your risk tolerance. So to open an able account, you can visit fidelity.com/able. And the disclosures, all the fine print and legalese is on that website as well. And you can also, there's a phone number you can call. You can just call 800-449-6332 is MIFA's number, and I will give that again at the end. And that allows you to get right to Fidelity. But you can talk to Fidelity about, the different portfolios that you might be interested in setting up. Now, I'm also going to provide these slides. So there's a slide here on resources for folks regarding the attainable account, for example. An email sign up. So if you wanted to sign up for MIFA attainable emails, we encourage you to do that. We don't spam anybody or sell emails, but for example, when the age limit is increased to 46 years old in 2026, for example, that would be an email that we're going to email out to all of our attainable email recipients. So things like that, very important news that is going on in the industry. I'm also leaving everybody with our social media channels. So we encourage you. We're on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. We have videos on YouTube and podcasts. So if you like listening to podcasts, I encourage you to join us in the social world. And then our phone number. So right at the end, we have here our phone number. If you want to call, we can talk to you. Or if you want to go online, mifa.org/attainable is on there. And you can also email us with questions. So we're here with college counselors and able counselors to help you. So attainable@mifa.org is our email address that you can reach us, and we'd be happy to help you. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Andrea, and I hope this program is helpful for folks. And I do want to also reiterate the Boston Saves. We've participated in that program as well with some of our other savings plans that folks can use for college. So that's always a good program too.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. I learn something new every time we do one of these, and it's really great I know we get folks who call our office. We don't do case management and financial advice in our office, but we hear from folks all the time being like, I'm on SSI, but I can't have more than $2,000, but I have an emergency cost. Like, who can help me with that? And so ABLE is a really great tool for saving for a rainy day, saving for that personal care attendance, or assistive technology devices that can get really expensive when they break. Obviously a
Monthly
balance of
expenses. Yep.
yeah, those can be really expensive. And so, you've got free financial coaching from the Center for Working Families to help you understand what goes in a checking account versus maybe an investment account. You've got MIFA and Fidelity's advisors to help you understand that. And so I'm so glad you are all here so people can put a face to the name when they call and email you all to set up their new accounts. I want to thank everyone for watching. If you found the link to this video, then wherever you found it, there will also be links to all of those slides. I have them all. You can email disability@boston.gov, but I will also make sure Marcia has them. So in terms of sharing the link to this video, there will also be emails and contact information and links and slide decks attached in that way. So that's all I've got from me. Marcia, Stephanie, Michael, Lynn, any last comments before we end the recording?
I would just like to add, all of this content is also available on the Boston Public Schools past events tab in the Office of Special Education. So all of the recordings we've done and a deeper dive into teachers who have actually taught the curriculum. So you can learn a lot, and we have links, and you can contact me at any time as well.
And I'll be putting the link on our YouTube page if you go to YouTube and search for Boston Disability Commission. But that won't also have links to the slides because, you can't link slide decks to YouTube. But thank you for that, Marcia. I'm going to make sure I bookmark that page. Any other last comments from our presenters?
I would just say, for all my friends who might be listening, working in the community, to spread the word about these attainable accounts, because folks don't know about them. My own family, my niece has Downs and my sister had no idea. And my niece is 35 and, looking to, get out on her own, get an apartment. So, these things can really help people, and, everybody knows somebody who it can help. So please spread the word.
Thank you so much for sharing. And thank you all for your time. Give us a call, shoot us an email if we can help in any way, and have a great night.
Thank you. Have a good night, everybody.